And it says we're live. Hello and welcome to a tarot happy hour. And with me today is Carla from Miss Kulala's Mystical Musings. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Let me just check really quick if we are on YouTube. One moment, please hold the line. Still not live. Or wait.
You know what's funny?
The death wheel. It's turning and
When you
turning.
said
Oh,
to
now
see
I
if
see
we
it.
were on the YouTube, I could hear somebody like in the background going, "Are you on the YouTube again?"
Yes, we're on the YouTube again. And I see that Twisted Sushi is here. Hi, hello, happy
Hi,
full moon.
Amanda.
Yes, we have a full moon tonight or tomorrow, full moon in Scorpio.
Yes.
We have Luana C here. Hi, hello,
Hi.
and welcome. Yeah, so as you can see in the title, today we're just going to have a little chit chat, and our topic is twin flames and soulmates, and what we actually think about that. So, this is just a chat. Like, by no means do we know all about that kind of stuff. We might have some personal experience with it, with some of it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So, what do you let's start with the easy one. What do you think a soulmate is?
I think a soulmate is somebody that you have a life lesson to learn with. Like they're put in your path as somebody that is to help you learn a karmic lesson. And yeah, I think that they complement you, you know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
whereas like, the twin is like the same. I think they complement you and help you in the areas that you might be lacking in. Like a yin and
Yes.
yang.
And do you think a soulmate is only something romantic?
No, not at all. I think it can be, but no, I think it could be a family member, it could be a friend.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay. And everyone in the chat, please let us know your opinions on the topic as well. What do you think is a soulmate? So for me, of course, the first thing I think of when I hear the word soulmate is, of course, the romantic aspect. And I have learned over the years that, yeah, soulmates can be also really good friends. Sometimes even siblings can have a soulmate connection depending on how close they are. And yeah, it's like, for me, a soulmate is someone where it is very easy to understand the other person. It doesn't need a lot of words.
True.
Sometimes you only look at each other and you know what the other person is thinking or what they want to say. And yeah, a soulmate connection for me is something that is like, I put that in the category of, it's easy in a way of, it doesn't require much like energy to put in. It's just flowing. It's simply flowing.
Yeah, cuz soul like they know you.
Yeah. And I think that's if we're going to get scientific with this, I think it's because the soulmates are operating on the same vibration, the same frequency. And so that's why the understanding is so easy, in my opinion.
That's fun.
And
Yeah.
then there's also those karmic people that, like you talked about, the life lessons.
Mhm.
And I personally had a few karmic people put in my path, and those are always the ones that rub me the wrong way. That's always the lesson that I need to learn about how to react, how to respond, how to
Mhm.
handle the situation, and all of that. And I have, like, the funny thing is, it doesn't matter who that person is. It can be a man, it can be a woman, but it's usually someone that behaves in the exact same way as the karmic person before. And it's because I haven't handled it well. I was reacting in a place coming from negative energy. And so eventually I will get another person just like that showing up, and usually in my workplace, or back then it was at school. that, yeah, that this person will be very close by. So either directly in my department or in my class or something. And yeah, they would push my buttons a lot. Like, and I would get to know a completely new side of me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I didn't like that side very much. And it was frustrating a lot of times, but I've gotten better with it. So the karmic people still come, but my
Mhm.
way of reacting to it is very different now.
Yes.
Do you have any karmic people in your life?
Yes. And I think once the soul contract is fulfilled, that's when the soul might move on. They might
Oh,
be doing their own thing, and it doesn't include you because you fulfilled that contract. So it's
yeah.
like, it's something, when they say soul, I think that's something that you plan,
Hmm.
before you actually incarnate.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea too about us having chosen a certain life, like the overall thing of what we're gonna do with our life. I think we choose, but like the little steps in between, that is optional, and we can still change
Right.
the direction. But overall, I think the big key points, stepping stones, are mapped out already because that's lessons we want to learn.
I agree.
And yeah, and some of those stepping stones just happen to be karmic. Now, what do you
Yes.
think a twin flame is?
I think they are just like us. I mean, they are like a mirror image of you almost.
Hmm.
Like, I think if you were to put maybe their birth charts on top of each other, you would see a lot of similar planets and houses and stuff. And I think the soul uh, the soulmate would be just the opposite. They would like fill in the holes.
So, what, okay, if we're going into the astrology, then what about a birth chart that is half the planets exactly in the same spot, half the planets are in a completely different spot, but like the houses and everything match up?
I think that would be more along the lines of a twin. Yeah, like if they're mirroring each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying
Well,
that
I know someone who has a birth chart like that with someone.
really. Hmm.
Hmm. That's the funny thing. So, yeah, the twin flame thing for me, like I didn't even know about the whole twin flame thing and that was a thing before finding Tarot Tube. And then because of all these like pick a card readings and stuff, then I also saw that there's like twin flame readings, and I was like, okay, what the hell is a twin flame?
Yeah.
And so what do we have here?
Yeah.
I never believed in twin flames until recently. Oh, are you one?
Mhm.
Soulmates, I think of mother and daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people that are really like two souls that simply just understand each other. Like they get
Mhm.
you. I
Yep.
think that's a soulmate, and that can be anyone. But yeah, the twin flame thing, I didn't know that before Tarot Tube, and then I in the beginning I thought, oh, that's a very romantic thing, and it kind of sounded like a Lifetime movie and all of that. And then I started listening more and more to people explaining the whole twin flame thing, and I was like, that's the most toxic relationship bullshit ever.
Yes. Yes, I
Why
agree.
would anyone want to be a twin flame?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, I mean, with soulmates, at least that is something that I say, okay, yes, I want to have a soulmate because that just means like that easy energy flow. And, it doesn't mean that you will never have a fight with that person because
Right.
disagreements will happen. But at least it's a better way of communicating because,
Mhm.
you're on the same level. But the twin flame stuff and the fact that this always happens in stages, but then again, I have watched so many different people explaining the whole thing, and it seems they don't even agree on how many stages there are. Like the overall concept is kind of agreed upon, but some say, okay, there's 4 stages, there's 8, there's 12, there's also other signs and synchronicities and stuff. So I wrote down some of these stages from one video. They differ in other videos. So I thought that we could just talk about these stages and see what comes up. So the first stage is apparently the recognition and the temporary awakening. And that is also something that they always say, like the twin flame connection, that is like part of the ascension process, because you're moving to the next level of awareness. And they also, with the twin flame thing, divide the people in that connection into divine feminine and divine masculine. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has, like, the divine feminine needs to be the woman and the divine masculine is the man. It can also be a same-sex relationship. It just means like whoever has more feminine attributes and things, like that's the divine feminine, and whoever presents more masculine in ways of thinking or acting, whatever, that's the divine masculine. And usually in that awakening process, the divine feminine is always earlier than the divine masculine, or at least in 90% of the time. And so the divine masculine then kind of has to play catch up with the feminine. But in that recognition, like they meet each other and it's like love at first sight, and it's like the honeymoon phase and rose tinted glasses, and everything is so, like cloud 9 and all that stuff. And then comes the next stage when the honeymoon is over, and I'm just going to call that the ego stage, because then the stuff that each of them brings from previous relationships, the stuff that hasn't been worked on, the toxic stuff, now kind of gets in the way, and disagreements happen. They're fighting, and like sometimes even questioning the whole thing, and like, is this really what I want? Is it worth it? Whatever. So yeah, and after that, the next stage, crisis. Because then comes anxiety, depression, but still hanging on to this connection because it's the twin flame, because you want to keep it and you're supposed to fulfill a mission together. So it turns into something really dysfunctional.
Oh, yes.
And then in the next stage, I just wrote down, they call it the runner and chaser phase, and I just wrote down more toxic shit.
Right.
It's very unhealthy. It's a very unhealthy way of being together. And yeah, in the runner and chaser phase, like one person is always called the runner, one is the chaser, and in more times, the divine feminine is the chaser and the divine masculine is the runner, because the runner is not as far evolved on their spiritual journey yet. So it gets too much, it gets overwhelming. And so they're just going to back off. Then comes the breakup, and that might even be really nasty. And yeah, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. And the people who say that they are in twin flame connections and that talk about this stuff also say that the kind of love and the kind of heartache that you experience in this connection is beyond anything you could ever imagine and that you ever have experienced. And they can't even describe it with words. But yeah, even that doesn't sound like something. Like, even if I would get the greatest love of all, knowing that the greatest heartbreak of all will follow, why would I want that? So, and they always talk about like like the runner being in denial of like the whole evolution that they're supposed to go through, and yeah, maybe this is not for me and whatever kind of stuff. So there's like, they need therapy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after that comes the surrender stage, where they go their separate ways. And some people say that the separation period can last anywhere from months to years or decades. And in that separation time, they have their individual healing and everything to do. And it could even be that each of them get into relationships and even get married with other people, have children, live their individual lives and everything. And, just, and that could take like 20, 25, 30 years. Who knows? And then at some point comes the awakening of both to the divine love. So eventually, the runner will get that light bulb moment and be like, "Oh, now the awakening is happening," and they will always have that person in the back of their mind. Like that person will never disappear from their thoughts. And then suddenly, once the awakening process happens, it's like magnets kind of finding their way back together. And so in the kind of last step of all of this comes the reunion, and then it's unconditional love.
Well, I think I could probably just pick up a really good romance novel and find what I
Yeah,
want
it
in
sounds
there.
like a Lifetime movie, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And it's also said that in the twin flame connection, they can have other obstacles as well. They can be from different cultures, different countries, in different age groups. So one could be 70 years old and the other one could be 20 years old. But if they're meant to be, they're meant to be. And once they come together after the reunion, then they can fulfill their twin flame mission, which is the purpose of this whole thing, anyways, to then bring kind of like ascension and stuff into the world and to help others and all that stuff. But honestly, like I don't know why anyone would want that.
I don't think I'd want to go through all that. Yeah.
This happens unconsciously. Well, I heard from someone that if you're in a twin flame connection or if you're on that twin flame journey, you will know. So once you meet that person, it will be like recognition and you will know. And yeah, this will be like not of this world. That's how they always describe it.
Well,
And it doesn't really sound desirable at all.
I was in my 20s. I didn't have any children yet, so early 20s. I think I had just turned 21. And I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 5 years. And I was like in a slump. So I was doing a lot of meditating and just going deep within, dreaming, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, I had a vision of this man who, like, I knew him as we were like cave days. He was a caveman. I remember he picked me up and threw me on the fur, like, here you go, ooh, let's go, So anyway, I remember he was in that lifetime, and then in another lifetime he was in a field of wheat, and he's just looking at me, and he holds his hand out, and so I take it, and I didn't know his name, so I called him Wheat. And anyway, so then we go to his castle, and there's this miniature horse with red eyes guarding the castle door, or the walked over the bridge, and then the door was down, or whatever, the draw thing was down. This little miniature horse standing there, and we walked past the horse, and I just remember looking at it, and it's like eyeballing me with these red eyes, So then we go into the castle, and he's like, "Okay, I need to leave you for a minute," and he goes up onto the somewhere like a mezzanine type thing, and he's standing up there, and he's talking to some other people. There's this big ball going on, and a bunch of people are dressed up in gowns, waltzing and stuff. And then this red-haired woman comes up to me and she goes, something, I forget what she called him. She's like, I have a letter for you. And I turned it over to open it, and it had like a wax butterfly on the back of it. It was sealed, and I open it, and there's a love letter in there, and it's from Wheat. And he's telling me how much he loves me. So that was when I was 21. So then I met Bob, my significant other now. And Bob happens to raise, at the time, actually at the time that I had that, he was raising wheat. But when I met him, he was raising soybeans and corn. And he had miniature horses, and he lived next to a butterfly preserve.
Oh my God. That is the coolest story ever.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we've had a lot of fucking shit problems, let me tell you, over the years. But I mean, and we did have that attraction when we first met. It was like moth to a flame. And boy, did we go through some hell.
But you were never like separate, like broken up for a long period of time.
For 4 months. We were separated for 4 months.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And you know that song, I'm Here Without You, Babe?
Oh, yeah. 3 Doors Down?
Yep. He caught me 4 months later, and he was like, I've been meaning to send you this song. And I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So I'm very blessed now because we got through that. But there was quite a while where we were very codependent of each other, and just like, woo, talk about a lot of mental stuff. There was a lot of mental stuff going on. But, I think that's when you were talking about coming back together. We kind of went through that whole process while we were together of the enlightening ourselves.
Look who's here. Tansy.
Hi.
I've missed you.
Yes.
Welcome. And a while back, Sid was saying, I have trouble just standing while moving forward. All this other drama is too much. Like the whole twin flame stuff. Like, yeah. Yeah. The whole, like, I don't even know. And then, what did I want to say? Now I lost my thought. That story was just so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, something that is that I saw while watching hugs back to you. While watching some of these twin flame videos, especially in connection to tarot, with these pick a card readings, is that just like people get addicted to those pick a card readings, they can also get addicted to this thought of, oh, I want to have this twin flame connection, and they're watching all these videos and stuff, the general readings. And something that I saw in a lot of them is that the reader will then say, well, yeah, you're, or the divine masculine is about to awaken, but they need to take care of some other stuff first. So they're not ready yet, but they're coming, trust. And it's like, when you read the comments, it's almost like, yeah, some people will actually put their life on hold because they think that they are in a twin flame connection with someone. And sometimes they haven't even been with that person in the first place yet. Mm-hmm. Like they're still waiting for the first time to come around, and they're already projecting all of that stuff into it. And I think that's just another like toxic avenue to go down. And like, I don't know if this twin flame thing should intersect with tarot at all. Like if this is really just like a spiritual awakening process and stuff, like telling people, well, your significant other that's going to be in your life at some point is going to be ready, wait for it. And then for years they've been watching those videos and nothing ever happens. Like I don't know if that's really healthy to lead people on and maybe even give them false hope, because the idea of being a twin flame just sounds so romantic and people just want it. And I don't know. Hey
I don't.
there. Hey friends, anybody know where the twin flame DMDF terminology derives from? I've been wondering the same thing. I don't know if that is a quote unquote new age thing or if that is actually an old thing. So I didn't really find anything about that. Genji says it's exactly always live your best life. When good things happen, just flow, go with the flow. Yeah. Just sounds like the cliche crystal ball readings where nothing is really said. Yeah, kind of does. Like it's, and there's a lot of these like specific twin flame readers on TarotTube, and a lot of oracle decks have been created, or even some tarot decks that can be bought on those independent card websites. I'm not going to name them now, where you can buy those, or they will sell them on their own websites. And it's like all twin flame stuff. So there's like a whole market for this twin flame thing. But I think it's just cashing in on the whole thing. I think
Yeah.
it's like in the tarot world, I think it's just a money grab.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if someone really is on that journey, I don't think they would need a general reading on YouTube to tell them if their divine masculine or whatever is ready or not. Because some of those twin flame content creators have also said, like, when you're in that connection, you will know. So again, it's like playing with loneliness and fear and anxiety of people. And yeah, I don't.
I had a guided meditation one time that I never was fully regressed, but I had a vision. And in my vision, Bob was my dad. And I was, yeah, so father and daughter.
Yeah.
And I was actually murdered and our hut was burnt down.
Oh.
Anyway, but so, I mean, yes, Bob and I are soulmates, but it was something that, I remember my mom telling me when I was younger, get your nose out of those romance novels. I don't want you thinking that love is like that. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? This little girl was like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
And then I don't think I would have, like, because we went through a lot of issues, and so, but the issues again were my own.
Yeah.
His issues were his. So it helped me to realize I had to learn acceptance and all that.
Ooh.
But that's the stuff that comes from when you're with a soulmate. Oh, look at those babies.
Cat
Oh,
fight. She's probably gonna get up really soon because no, he is.
I don't know.
Yeah. They usually don't stay on together, so yeah.
Oh,
This
so
is Bellamy. This is Artemis.
oh.
For the first time, they're both in my video. Wow, I feel special now. And he's gonna. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, and like Sid was saying, like corporate way to find a way to make money off of a person's fear of not wanting to be alone. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yep.
Yeah, aren't they? They're behaving right now. Like I'm surprised. um, yeah. So what do we hear? Oh, Gerald is here. Hi. So the first well-known mention of twin flames or twin souls comes from Plato 2,500 years ago in the Symposium.
Oh, thank you for that bit of info.
Plato presents a theory of the original humans having two sets of every body part and an organ, 4 arms, 4 legs.
That's right. I
Interesting.
have read that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Because something that they were saying about the twin flames, how it's described, it's like you're actually one, and then you're split into 2 parts, and then you will spend your life finding that other part again. So eventually, like magnets, you will just come back together.
It's definitely interesting. Oh, kitty's being so
Plato said, and when one of them meets with his other half, the actual half of himself, the pair are lost in an amazement of love and friendship and intimacy. And one will not be out of the other's sight even for a moment. See, like I can see that whole thing, and oh yeah, we got a link here. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
So I would really get behind this whole thing if this was not such an unhealthy way of being together. Like if they recognize each other and then they are like soulmates and they just work together, and instead of just being soulmates, then there's the spiritual component and trying to bring awareness to more spirituality, for example, and to, just help others, guide them, whatever, like that kind of stuff. Like that I could get behind. But the whole, like the messiness of everything, the breakup, the toxicity and all of that, is like, why?
Yeah.
So they seriously complete each other. That's a romance novel. Yeah. Like it's, I don't know who said that, but it's like, I always have this image in my head. It's like a tree and lightning strikes and it breaks into two parts. And then, you want to put that tree back together. So, yeah. Anyone in the chat, do you know anyone personally in your group of friends, family? Has anyone ever talked about twin flame stuff? Do you know anyone who is in a twin flame connection? And how's that going?
I've heard, like I've had some of my friends, think in the very beginning that they're in a twin flame relationship, a twin flame relationship. And then when they go through the heartache, then they're like, yeah, that couldn't have been.
But that's supposed to be part of it, especially if it's the biggest heartache you've ever had.
Yeah.
So Twisted Sushi said, I've considered if me and my fiance are. So at which stage of these would you say you are, if I may ask, Twisted Sushi? Because that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, have you had all the breakup stuff already, or is that yet to come? Because that's like something that they always talk about. Like, I have never heard anyone talk about the whole twin flame thing without the separation. Like, no one has ever said, oh, we met, we fell in love, and we stayed together. So we have healed so much to the point where we are all in now, getting married in September. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
After 6 years of being engaged and just sort of stuck in that stage. I just don't get why heartache must be a component for the whole twin flame thing. Yeah, it's like you are supposed to experience the complete opposite ends of the spectrum, like the best thing ever and the worst thing ever. And I mean, I get that heartache and everything is a part of love, but it's not like the twin flame thing would be the only relationship you ever have. So there will be other kinds of heartbreak. And I don't know why it has to go to such extremes to prove a point or something. Like, I don't know. Can't you have a twin flame connection, recognize it, and just think it is right and not mess with it? Apparently not. Apparently not.
Yeah.
You said there is a disconnect at some point. I felt that energetically with us in the past. Well, maybe some of the breakup stuff for some is easier than for others. Seems like ego talking, really. Yeah, there's like when the honeymoon phase is over, then the ego sets in, and if stuff from previous relationships and or trauma, family trauma, other relationship trauma, whatever they have experienced in life is not healed, then that will creep its way into the relationship, just like it does with anyone else. Like, it doesn't even have to be in a twin flame connection. Like, if you're with someone and you have baggage, as we say, it is at some point going to come up in the relationship. And people are going to get into arguments and fights, and some people call it quits, some people work on it. You know, it's like different for everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas my future daughter, whom I've dreamed of, which sounds insane, I consider her my soulmate. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think, I think the people that we have in our lives that serve a very important role, we have soul contracts with them. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even in my case, for example, my father is not present in my life. My mom got divorced from him before I was even 2 years old, and I've never met him. Like, I don't have any memory of him after that. And I believe that I made that deal with him before this incarnation so that I would experience the life without him. Because in previous lifetimes, what I've found out from past life readings, I was always in a family structure where like the patriarch was very like determining what my life would be, and I would either go with it or go completely against it. And so I think this might be the first time that I've actually had an incarnation without a father so that I could see how I would develop differently. But now we're getting sidetracked here, a different topic.
Well, I think it is a matter of perception. I think that's the
Mhm.
difference between soulmate and twin. Twin flame is probably more of the romantic nature, you
Mm.
know, and
Yeah.
love is tumultuous. Just look at the lovers on the tarot card, the lovers
Mhm.
card,
Yeah.
you know. It can
My
be
cat was my
tumultuous.
soulmate, a stray cat. When we met, it was love at first sight. She was killed in a road accident after 5 months. We will meet again. Oh, I'm so
Mm,
sorry. Hmm. Adolescence will break a period. Mm. Shadow's jumping here. Uh, Contracts, yes. Maybe not so much twin flame. Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about like if twin flames actually made a contract, or if it's just because they're supposed to be uh, actually one and the same, that they're simply just going to find each other. And it can actually be that some have said this in their videos, that you can be a twin flame, but you might not find your twin flame in this incarnation, in this lifetime. So you may
right.
have to wait until you're reincarnated in another life to find that. So, which then brings me back to those tarot readings when it's like, yeah, your divine masculine is not ready. Well, if he's not even born yet, or if you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
meet in a different timeline, then you can wait your entire life and nothing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah, I, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the people who are twin flames, if there really is such a thing, then they probably will know. But then again, you could also mistake a good soul connection for a twin flame connection, try to make it into something that it's not.
That's
Because for
that's
me, like the one thing that's different between soulmate and twin flame connection seems to be that spiritual component, that both of them seem to have a purpose and kind of like a job to do. And it's not
mm-hmm.
the same thing with the soulmates, because that's only for them. The twin flame connection is supposed to affect other people. And yeah. So I guess if someone is in such a connection, I guess they would know. And uh, my personal opinion, anyone who is wondering if they are might not actually be.
Right.
Because we've been so spoon fed with this idea of the twin flames
Mm-hmm.
that it's just so stuck in our heads that we might unconsciously be looking for it.
If I had heard the term when I had first met Bob, I would have said, "Oh God, yes, he's my twin flame,"
Oh,
but I didn't know the term existed. And but now it's like knowing that we've spent so many lifetimes together previously.
hmm.
I already know that's how we know each other. because one of the things he said to me was, don't take this the wrong way. Don't think I'm hitting on you. And this is like when we first met. He goes, but I met you before. He goes,
Oh,
and I went, really? And he goes, yeah, in my dreams. I was like, what? He's like, I'm not just saying that.
oh
I
my
was like,
God.
okay. And then I got to thinking, once I got to know him, and because I wrote that down, that vision that I had,
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was like, oh, well, yeah, we do know each other. So yeah. And
Oh my
then
God.
there's that when you're, uh, you have that connection, then you do tend to cling on to that. You think, well, this is meant to be,
Yeah.
So even through the heartache, there was always something that said, we got to work through this. We got to work through
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I'm glad
And
we did.
that's the part that seems to be like where I would think like, is this even worth it? If I was in a twin flame connection, I would get to that very messy part before the breakup, and like the ego would take over, and it would be very unhealthy.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the hanging on part, I can understand that,
Hmm.
but I don't really know if that is worth it for someone's own mental health
It was not worth
to
it for the
really
longest
want to hang
time.
on to that.
And then it was,
Yeah.
because the personal growth had to happen within each of us,
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, there was a point when, I was codependent in the relationship, and I would have been the chaser because, um, there's times when you just don't accept,
Mm.
and then when I stopped being the chaser, then he was the chaser. Anyway, it's a whole long story, but I mean, it's been a good, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years that things have just been like fantastic. There's no more of the um, codependency within the
Mm.
relationship. You know,
But then, for this to be the twin flame thing, like, do you both work on spiritual stuff and like the whole ascension thing?
well, I do.
Mm.
I can't speak for Bob, but let's just say he surprises me with when I am, talking about stuff, and he's going, I've been thinking things, and then, and
Really?
it's he approaches it different than I do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think most people probably approach things different than I do, but I mean, but yeah, we talk about it usually after we've
Oh,
had a couple drinks, and
why not?
yeah, that's when we're connecting on that spiritual talk. you
Well,
know
unwinding from, the
oh
world out
yeah,
there.
yeah, and saying stuff we like, especially at the campfire when we're looking up at the
Mm.
stars, because we both have had, experiences, alien stuff, so yeah.
Mm.
He's like, oh my gosh, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, so we both love
So
talking
here,
about ghosts.
yeah. So Twisted Sushi asks, so how can we weed out the toxic terms and get back to the basics? That is a good question. I think as long as people are promoting all that stuff because there's money in it, the toxic stuff just makes the most money, honestly. It's operating on that level of fear and playing with people's emotions and their loneliness and things like that. So, yeah, it's like those discussions that we have once a year about the tarot community and why we just can't all get along, be happy.
Mm,
I think it's the same thing with all these kinds of topics. Like the toxic stuff will always be there, and I guess you can't really have light without the dark. But in
hmm.
this sense, it's just so extreme, so extreme.
Yeah, and think about this: if the soulmate comes into your life to help you, like the hard lessons, or maybe help you get through something,
Mm,
but then the twin flame is, they're mirroring you, so that would be, I can see, like, sitting here talking about it, in order to actually spiritually ascend, we have to be able to see ourselves in someone else's eyes and see us for
Mhm.
how we truly are. And so, and then if you're able to accept each other from that point on, you know what I mean? Then the spiritual growth is something that takes inside of yourself, and you're not. And so the twin flame is helping you to see yourself.
Mhm.
Maybe.
That's an interesting point. Yeah. I mean, yeah, when you're dealing with, like, especially if you're in that role of the divine feminine and you're dealing with the denial and the toxicity of the divine masculine, then yeah, you will probably learn a lot about yourself in the process. Whereas they allegedly are pushing all of that away because it's too much to deal with.
Right. And it would depend on what stage you're at, whether you're actually going to,
Mm.
have a alchemical.
Maybe exercises to connect and learn about the connection itself with someone rather than ask someone else. Yeah, like especially those general readings. I think we can all agree that, like, if you look at a channel that gets like 100,000 views on a pick a card reading, and let's say they have three groups, and let's just assume that the audience will be split equally. So that's 33,000 people watching the same video on that particular group and then
Mm-hmm.
on each of the three groups. And it's just not going to apply to everyone. Like maybe not even to one, but it's this thing like playing with people's emotions again, that people in their head, they will start to make it fit. They will
Yes.
say,
Oh
oh,
my
like
goodness.
this reader knows me so well. They're
Yes.
describing exactly what's happening in my life. Well,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? Since we're all humans and we're basically going through the same stuff on
Mm-hmm.
a grand scale, we are bound to have the same experiences. We're all experiencing heartbreak at some point. We're
Mm-hmm.
like the breakup stories might have similar components to it, that we have been treated badly in a relationship. And so we're just completely heartbroken. And maybe that person was so important that we want to have them back. And I bet a lot of those people that are watching these videos over and over again, uh, like I would say 90% of the people that are asking tarot readers on YouTube, is my ex coming back? They might actually also be of the mindset that it might be a twin flame thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they want it to be.
Yeah. They want it to be. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. Because even like I said, even before I knew what twin flames were, I'd already read some really good romance novels. And believe me, I was hoping that's what I was getting into. But man,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's
Like
nothing like that.
like one of the Nicholas Sparks stories that comes to mind for me, I don't know if you've seen this, is Dear John with Channing Tatum
Oh
and
my goodness.
Amanda
Yeah.
Seyfried or something. And I think like that could be like a twin flame connection, maybe, because they meet, it's hot and heavy, and they fall in
Mhm.
love, and they never stop loving each other. But then, you know, life goes on. She gets married to someone else for other reasons, not for love. And they meet again. And eventually, after she becomes a widow, then they get back together. And so, yeah. So
Hmm.
it's that Nicholas Sparks stuff, kind of.
Yeah, usually, yeah, those are usually sad.
Yeah. So, well, does anyone have any final remarks in the comments section here in the live chat? I think otherwise we've covered pretty much everything we wanted to say about this topic. So I'm still of the opinion that I would not want to be in a twin flame connection. Like I want to have a good soulmate connection, not a
Yes,
twin flame
soulmate.
connection.
Yeah, yeah, because they could be romantic too.
Yeah. And even a soulmate connection can be extremely deep and
Hmm.
fulfilling. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
doesn't
what I
have.
always thought Bob and I were, and
Mm.
then once I got more into it, I realized I have a lot of soulmates.
Yeah, I would even go so far as to say that you and I are
I
soulmates.
would absolutely say that. Yes.
See, like we get each other.
Yes, we definitely do. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any more comments here, so I'm just gonna close this topic off, this happy hour now. So thank you to everyone who was here in the chat and who was talking to us. If you're watching this back, please let us know in the comments section what you think about the whole twin flame soulmate connection. Have you experienced it? Is that a thing? What do you think? Let us know. And well, we'll see you in another video again, hopefully. So, and also Carla's channel is in the description box. If you're not already subscribed, go and subscribe. And we will see you again sometime soon. So take care. Have a good weekend. Have a good full moon. See
Yes.
you later. Mwah.
Bye.